Coming up next, we have a really awesome interview that I did with Henk and Kent. These two guys have this tremendous dream to help men kind of get out of the quiet desperation of rote life and really enter into an adventurous life with Jesus. In order to do that, they created these extreme challenges in the wilderness, and they have a pretty awesome story to tell. Let's check it out. Henk and Kent, it's so great to be here with you. Goedemorgen.
Yeah,
Hoe gaat het met
thank
jou?
you. Yeah, it's going very well.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
So happy to have you guys
Thank
here.
you.
You guys are doing some pretty amazing things with men, Christian men, and helping them break through some of the big challenges that all men face. And I'm looking forward to hearing about that from you guys. You're in California this weekend. Unfortunately, your extreme challenge was delayed because of the fires in the Sierra Nevadas. But in a way, that's good because that gives some of our viewers an opportunity to connect with you guys if they want to come out to Southern California and take one of your challenges. What's that about? What are these challenges and why are you doing them?
Well, the Extreme Character Challenge is really a 4-day ultimate endurance experience that we like to call one endless day.
Yeah.
And so it's where the guys, come together for 72 hours and where their faith is tested, their character is tested, they build deep, true friendships, and their faith is really ignited. And what happens is in that 72 hours, the men are divided into teams of 8 to 10, and we go through a deep physical experience together that's not a boot camp, but it's full of adventure, it's full of challenge. And but in this, there are 20 spiritual moments that happen throughout this 72 hours that all have purpose in the physical adventure. So everything connects with a purpose.
Yeah.
And this year we're focusing on the life of Joshua. And so what happens is in these messages that really helps the guy, every man, to be able to evaluate his own heart before the Lord. And then ultimately by the end of that 72 hours really helps him to come to the highest place on earth, and that's to the foot of the cross.
Yeah, what a great story. Yeah, and so this is really like a kind of you guys are building on sort of like, I have a lot of friends that are into, like, you've probably heard of the Tough Mudder, or I think another, what is the other one, the Trojan Challenge or something like that?
Yeah, there's many different ones.
The ones where, and you're getting shocked and muddy, and or sometimes they'll go for days and survival challenges and things like that. But what you're doing is you're taking something like that and giving it meaning, right? Or maybe, I almost want to say, doesn't it seem like there's meaning in it already and you're maybe helping men figure out why it's meaningful, huh? Or maybe, what is it about?
That is a good remark, because that it's such a big trend for guys, but also for women to be in the outdoors. Yeah. That says something about the need of today. Yeah. Like most of us, we spend our days behind desks, behind screens, in cars. But I often say, well, God, He created a garden where He placed man, and it all started outside. Yeah. And I don't think we are created to be inside the whole time. And there's something about the outdoors that makes man come alive.
Yeah.
So there is true meaning in that. And we add meaning to that in the whole spiritual aspect. And the biblical following of Jesus.
Thoreau said most men will live lives of quiet desperation and die with the song still sung in their hearts. Doesn't that sound a bit like, I mean, I feel like that's true today more than it ever has. You have so many men that are really doing something good, right? They're doing their jobs to provide for their families, but and that's a good thing. There's virtue in that. But somehow, every day, the sort of, and this is for men and women, but for men and women, working every day, going to work, getting stuck in traffic, paying the bills, maybe supporting kids, or sometimes supporting parents or a loved one, and you're doing what is good, and yet there's a part of the soul that's kind of withering, And you want to bring that back to life, right?
Absolutely. Well, we find that guys dream about adventure, but most of the time it gets played out in front of a football game or something on the couch, And but to be able to take risk and to be able to do it together with other men, and to have an experience that really stirs their heart, that speaks to their heart, that calls them out to a greater purpose, that they know that there's something more. They don't know what to do. And so really what we've discovered is that in these weekends, these extreme character challenges, that it's really designed for every man. So it's not just your hardcore outdoor enthusiast, but it's a guy that maybe has never even been hiking before, or some guy that's climbed Mount Everest, you know.
Yeah,
but either
sure.
way, they find something special out of this weekend. And as a result of that, every guy comes out with something, you know, different.
Yeah. There are going to be a lot of men and women, but watching right now that they can't do these things. What would you say to them if they can't come out to one of your events? It's, you know, it doesn't work, but they're really resonating with what you're saying. What advice would you give them?
I would say start to walk. Hopefully you live somewhere where there's some nature, and maybe you have to drive a little bit to get somewhere, and just start to walk. Start small, small distances, but you go out and start praying, and just start looking, and take your Bible out and start looking for God outside. Maybe bring a friend. But I think this outdoors aspect will be healthy and beneficial for everybody that does it. I am a pastor also of church, so we are serving the kingdom in that way. And it was like 6 years ago that I myself was in a lonely place in my life. And as a pastor, you share a lot with many people, but I had neglected my friendships. And I just read a book called The Three Musketeers. It's a European book, but also it was big here in the US. And The Three Musketeers, it's actually about the fourth musketeer, D'Artagnan.
Yeah.
And he wants to become a musketeer, which is a servant to the king. Sure. And the whole book is about that. And my wife said, well, you have to do something with men. So I called 3 of my best friends, 2 pastors, 1 businessman. They came together to my house. And I said, well, let's start this men's ministry, and we call it the Fourth Musketeer. Because we want to become servants to the king. Yeah. And it will not be about sitting and listening, but it will be about living an adventure, living life to the max. And that's when we started developing Extreme Character Challenge. And it has done a lot also to my soul. Building new friendships, learning to really share my heart. Yeah. And that is something we see men in Europe, but also in the US, really craving that. Sure. You preached on friendship today, like Jesus being our friend, and that is core. And I believe that out of this friendship of Jesus to us, it's important that we also become friends to other guys. Yeah, yeah. Because when you have one true friend, you can befriend many other guys. Yeah, sure. And be a blessing.
I was realizing the other day, I was out to dinner with my wife, and she got up from the table to go to the bathroom, and what was the first thing I did?
Yeah, I know what you did.
Can you guess?
Yes.
I reached for my phone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was compulsive. I reached for the phone for no reason. Yeah. And I opened it to find something to look at. So I think I went to Instagram, and then I looked at a couple pictures, and then I went to my email and marked one and then unread, and then I went to ESPN and looked at the Angels score, and then she came back and I put the phone down. Yeah. And I realized that even in my own life, there's almost no gap where even for a moment I can sit at a table alone without just constantly pouring into, you know, something like that. We're in a way drowning in technology and busyness, aren't we?
It is one of the curses of our time, I believe, that dealing with the screens, we are becoming fragmented in our attention span. For young people, it is very difficult to read a book. To concentrate, like we are writing the books, but who will read them? Because everybody is just, their default mode is short and quick. And I've had to discipline myself also, that when I enter the house, I will not be on the phone. I will put the phone leave it in the car, put it in some room. At night, I have like 10 hours now, I put my phone off. It's almost like impossible. People cannot reach me, but I've had to set deliberate boundaries to gain my peace of mind and to be able to focus on Jesus, on my wife, on my children.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, God has made an amazing world, you know, and we add to it, but sometimes we just need that amazing world that God's created us to just kind of spread our wings and fly.
Yes, and also even in church. Well, in Europe, we see many guys just in church being bored and just being on the phone all the time in church. And also many men leaving the church. Well, the wives, they still do the church, and the guys, when they're there, they just tune out, or they don't go at all. And I believe we really need this new movement of true spirituality for men, to teach them to be in contact with nature, with other men, also with God, with their Creator.
Yeah.
And to teach them to master their own life and not be a slave of technology or a phone or just getting a new promotion or whatever.
We need adventure in our lives. We need to be out there. And even though, I mean, I'm not telling people to risk their lives, you know, but I mean, it's good to feel life, isn't it?
Yeah. And that happens outside, and it happens with friends.
Yeah.
Really doing life together, opening up, and it may really take courage to do that, to become brutally honest, and skip all the masks and all the fair play and be honest.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you guys for being here today. I'm so glad to hear what you're doing for men. It's just obviously men are so hungry to experience life again, and you're helping them do that both by building friendships and experiencing adventure in their lives.
And we thank you, Bobby, for your great work here in the US and globally with your church, and we are following you and really supporting your ministry, so thank you very much.
Great. Well, best of luck in your event, and I can't wait to see you when we come back out to the Netherlands next year. It'll be
cool.
good.